Hello, welcome back to Tactical Tuesday with Johnny Tiger. The date is April 30, 2024. Today I'm going to show you guys an intermediate level kind of arm control. And we're going to talk about it because there are some pros and cons about this move. It's a beautiful move when you can get it to work. And it works really well um, in most cases. Okay, but let me just say this off the bat. It is not something that I would personally do, and I will go into that in more details at the end of the video. Now, just because it's not something that I would personally do doesn't make it a bad move. It just means that personally I don't like it. Uh, it's still a pretty decent move for self-defense purposes. Now, um, let me just do a quick illustration. This is going to be a bit like a puppet show because I don't have a living partner here to work with, so you guys can't see the full. Because this move actually falls more under the pain compliance category, so you guys won't see that reaction. But I'm going to try to explain it the best I can. So this move happens when two people are face to face, fighting, pushing, shoving, or whatever, and if I step the right way, so the person, rather than coming right into me, they go past me this way, left, or they go past me to the right. Okay, we talked about this before in the past episode about deflecting incoming energy when someone's trying to chest bump you or push you. Okay, don't just stand here like a rock, right? That's some Shaolin Kung Fu crap, right? If someone's coming, if it's an incoming force, you either step aside, or turn your body to let it go past. Okay, so what I'm going to show you guys today, the rolling arm control, aka the tricep slicer, um, is a follow-up to that. When the person go past you, what do you do with them? Okay, because obviously you can't just stand there because they're going to boom backhand you right in the face, right? Or just turn around and grab you from behind like that, right? So when the person go past you, you want to catch their arm. So let's say I'm going to do it passing on the left. This way you guys can see me on the camera. Usually I will pass on the right because I'm more comfortable that side. Um, so when the person come toward you and you turn your body so they pass on the left, I'm going to stand back so you guys can see what I'm doing. Normally it will be a lot tighter, like close in like this, but then all you see is my back, right? So I'm going to stand a little bit off angle. Once they pass you on the left, my left hand hook onto their left wrist. Okay, either motorcycle grip or better, it's a barbell weightlifter grip from under. From this point, I am going to pull the wrist to my chest so I can fully extend them as they go past me. My right arm, the bone in my right forearm, go right here on the tricep, on the where on the human body is like right here on the tender part of the tricep. If you don't believe me, just give yourself a nice hard pinch there. It hurts, right? Okay. So once you secure the arm by hooking the wrist, pulling the wrist against your own chest, take your forearm, the bone on your forearm, pretend that there's a blade running from your wrist to elbow. Take that imaginary blade and slice it up on the tricep. Okay? Now, what are we looking for here? Since I can't get Bruce here to do it, I'm going to sort of talk you guys through it, like so you guys see what would happen when you do this to someone. When the human body is, especially the human arm, is turned that way, what's going to happen is the shoulder come up and the body go forward. Okay? Human body is not like action figures. On most action figures, if you twist their arm, they'll just spin. Because they're on the swivel joint. Human body don't work that way. Human body, especially when your arm is extended like this, that's as much range most of us have. Okay, some people they're more flexible. They can turn further. But most people, you're lucky if you can get like a 25, 30-degree turn from where your tricep is and your shoulder, right? So to get it to turn, your body have to move, your shoulder have to come up, and that's what's going on. When that imaginary blade on the forearm is pressed on your tricep, on the back of your tricep, number one, it hurts like hell. Number two, it help your arm turn over. And when that happens, let's say Bruce does it to me, when that happens, what's going to happen is I'm going to bend over like this, and I can't really fight very well. When I'm bending over like this, and my arm is being held against his chest, and his bone pressing against the back of my arm, okay? I can try to kick him, but it's not going to work very good, okay? So that's what we're looking at here. It's a pain compliance, it's a little bit of body mechanic. When you turn the person's arm, the body follow. Okay, when you turn the person's arm, the body follow. And some people say, okay, what if they don't follow? Um, we're going to touch on that a little bit later. But in most cases, if you do this technique correctly, they're going to follow. Right? They're going to, yeah, especially if you have a bit of muscle mass on your side. You don't have to be super jacked to do this move. It's not a power move, but it does require a bit of stability. Because if you're really lightweight, if you're super, super light, most likely the person just going to pick you up, right? Always remember, when you think about you, or when I think about I get into a fight, this is a common mistake most people make. It's in their head. They tend to imagine them kicking the ass of the other person because that makes us feel good, right? But that is a wrong way to think about self-defense. Most of the time, when you are actually going to get in a fight, when you get assaulted, it's going to be someone twice your size and twice as mean, and probably better than you at martial art. Okay, that person, most predators, they'll only attack you if they think they have a clear advantage. And sometimes that is not true. It's a false sense of confidence on their side, but a lot of time they do have the size advantage, or they got friends, or they got weapons, or whatever. Right? So it's healthy to imagine a little bit, right? When we visualize, when we are getting into a self-defense scenario, that person might be someone as buff, as big as Bruce here, right? I mean, even for me, I mean, we are almost the same size, right? But when I am doing self-defense, I generally ask myself, can I do this if the person is 350 pounds, 400 pounds? Would it work? But like I said, we'll come back to that in a little bit, near the end of the video, when we talk about the pros and cons of the tricep slicer. So let's look at this again. Person coming towards you, you turn your body, let them pass, you hook their arm, the one that's closer to you, in this case, his left. I hook his left with my left. hold it against my chest, my right forearm with the imaginary blade go up his tricep. Okay? And if this was a living person, he would be bending over. Right? Now, there are a lot of people that learn this move and have problem getting this to work. And I want to address some of that first. Why is it that some of you have difficulty? Number one, the common mistake that I see with a lot of students is they think this is an arm bar. Okay? They think this is an arm bar. So when they do this, they go for the elbow and try to bend the person's elbow like it's an arm bar. It's not an arm bar. Okay? This is not a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu move. An arm bar focus on the joint, whether the shoulder joint or the elbow joint. Now, in this case, if Bruce tried to do the move to me and tried to apply his forearm, the imaginary blade on his forearm, to my elbow, that is not going to work. Why? Because the moment, in any real fight, right, the moment you grab someone like this and try to pull them across, their instinct is to yank back, which means the elbow is bent. You applying your forearm to a bent elbow, the bent elbow is going to win. Your forearm is not going to win. Okay? Your forearm against tricep, your forearm will win because it's bone against flesh. Your forearm against a bent elbow is long bone against sharp bone. The elbow is going to win. So you cannot treat this like it's a armbar or arm lock or any of those joint lock stuff. It is not a joint lock. It is not an arm bar. There is that pain compliance in there that you need to work with. Okay, I'm not locking his joint. I'm putting my forearm bone on the back of his arm, on his tricep, and driving up like that. And that will turn his arm over. Once his arm turns, his body follows, he bends over. Right? That is the mechanic we're looking at here. So it's not an armbar. Number two, a lot of people make the mistake of when they grab, and this one's on the attacker too, because a lot of time when we train in a dojo, when we train in a class, you're told to be compliant, especially on this move, because you know it's going to hurt. When the person puts their forearm bone against your tricep and do that crap, it hurts. Okay, so a lot of time, what you see with attackers is they'll do this. So once they push past the defender, they go limp, their arm drop because they know what's coming. And on the defender's side, a lot of people don't know that you do need to keep this arm, when you grab the person's arm, you need to be as straight and as high, as even as possible. This is why you keep it on your chest. Okay? If you let it drop, because their arm drop, and you try to pull it here to your hip, it's not going to work. Because now when you try to do your forearm blade thing, you're scrubbing their deltoid, you're scrubbing their bicep. It's not going to turn their arm because the whole angle is off. The arm have to be forward, straight, like this, for this to turn and for the body to follow. If the arm is down, pointing at the ground, then when you try to do this, it's almost like you're rubbing up against their shoulder. That doesn't do anything. Okay? So number one, not an armbar. Number two, make sure when you do this move, the arm is straight across your chest. This way, when you apply your um, imaginary blade on the forearm to the tricep, the shoulder will flip over. Okay. Number three, there's a third reason why a lot of people can't get this to work, is they forget the slicing motion. Okay, what I see a lot of students, I keep saying I see, but you guys know what I mean. A lot of students, when they do this move, they go, ugh, ugh. They're pushing. They're like, they grab the arm right, and then they put their forearm against the person's upper arm and try to muscle this. Okay? Why doesn't this work? Because the arm is not turning over. Okay? When you just push, let me see if I can show you guys how this works. If if the arm turn, my body bends. If the arm is just pushed on, I'll just move. I'll just walk away. I'll just step away. When you push my upper arm, I'll just step away. That's what's going to happen. Okay? To make sure that arm actually turn over, that's when the person will bow down at your feet like that. Beautiful, beautiful move. But yeah, uh, those 3 points. If not, too many people think it's an arm bar, so they try to go for the elbow. Too many people let the arm drop too low, or too many people forget to slice up the arm. They just push and push, and you end up pushing the person away. Those are the 3 reasons why most people have difficulty with this move. Now, let's talk about pros and cons. Why is this a good move? Primarily, this is a really good move because it doesn't require a hell of a lot of energy. Okay? Because you're using your forearm against their upper arm. The only part that you're really using energy is holding onto their hand, holding onto their wrist, and slicing this arm upward. That's it. It doesn't take a heck of a lot. It's not like trying to do a takedown. Like those of you that are trying to do takedowns, you do your wrestling, you know what I mean. When you try to do a takedown, no matter if it's an arm drag takedown or a double leg takedown or a head grab takedown, whoo, that thing is tiring. Like after a few failed ones, you're kind of panting and you're gasping, right? This thing I can pretty much do this all night, no problem. Right? It's low energy, high efficiency. Okay, that's number one. Why that's a pro for this move. Number two, and this is probably my favorite reason for for people that favorite this move, is this move doesn't do a lot of damage. Okay, this is a low damage move. It looks painful. It feels really painful when people do it to you, but you actually don't hurt the person that much. Okay, he come at me. I step across. I grab the arm. I do this to his back of his arm. He turn. His shoulder flip over. Use some imagination, right? His shoulder flip over. He bent double, and I can just hold him there until he come down. Or if he doesn't want to calm down, then I can kick him in the face, right? Or punch him on the back of the head or something. But I don't have to, right? Like if this is a, angry uncle or angry cousin who had too much to drink and just trying to push me, I like, right? I can hold him there. I'm not hurting him. Tomorrow we can still be friends. Now, if you do it my way, like how I normally do when someone come at me like that, it's like the person come at me, I let them pass, right? We can't be friends anymore tomorrow. Like I just smashed the face in, I just hit them in the throat and groin. Okay, so this I'll freely concede. This is a way more peaceful move than what I usually would do. This is why it's good. It's good for using on targets that are not genuine threats. Now, with that said, why is it not my personal favorite? Why wouldn't I personally do this move, even though I'm pretty good at it? Number one, this is a move that even when you have a willing partner in the gym, in the dojo, I would guarantee that unless they are totally compliant, the moment they stop being compliant, you're only going to get it to work maybe 5 times out of 10 times. But it's a 50-50 move. So if against a partner who's not really trying to hurt you, you can only get it to work 50-50 of time, most of us not going to get this to work really good in a real situation, right? Now, obviously, there are exceptions. There are masters out there who can do this move in their sleep, and they can get it right every time. But that usually takes 40, 50 years of dedication and training and working on this all the time. Most of us, even myself included, do not work on our self-defense all the time. Okay, Johnny Tiger uh, has been in martial art his whole life, but even Johnny Tiger, if I want to be totally honest, how much time do I dedicate to martial arts and self-defense? Uh, on average, maybe 3 hours every day. That's like stretching it, right? Maybe more like 2 hours every day. That's on average, right? So, do you really want to clock in 10 hours a day to be able to do this perfectly 40 years later? Most, mostly, to most people, it's not likely, right? So it's a hard move to get working in a real situation. Why is that? Because if the person is too tall, you can't get this to work, right? If I'm down here and the person is this tall, okay, I mean that's exaggerating it. I mean that person would be like 8 feet tall. Okay, let's say I'm here. Let's say I'm like up to like, the top of my head is about his neck, right? About this height. This is not going to work. Right? The person come in, ah, the person's arm is like at my face. I can get my arm like that. It's not going to work. Okay? This is one reason why this move will fail a lot. It's it's size dependent. If the person is roughly your size, your height, or a little bit shorter or a little bit taller, it's fine. Too big of a size difference? No way. This is not going to work. Number two, if the person is super, super strong, like if his arm and my arm is about the same size, okay? So when I do this cool imaginary blade up the back of his arm, that's fine. But if the person who's defending, the arm is, well, let's say it's a 90-pound woman, 90-pound man, even 90 pound anything, their their arm is like this big, and then they are defending against someone who is like Bruce here, like the arm is like this big. You put your little arm up against that big arm and try to roll it, that person is just going to bring their arm back and push you, and you're not going to get anywhere with that, right? So it's definitely a move that is problematic in the height dependent and size dependent. Number three, another problem, it's reaction dependent. Why is it reaction dependent? Because it's counting on the person to push through. When you turn your body, the person goes through. So it requires them to have slow reaction, a lot of momentum, and not know what they're doing, right? If you run into anyone who knows even a little bit about martial art, or the person have really good reflex, the moment they go through, they grab the back of your shirt, now you can't get their arm, right? You can't get their wrist. You can still get the upper arm, but if they're grabbing onto the back of your shirt or your collar, then there's no way you're going to flip their arm. So this move is counting on the person to rush blindly past and extend their arm. So you can do this to their arm. You can grab and roll their arm. Okay, those are the reasons why it's really a hard move to get working because it's depending on so many factors. Excuse me, a little dusty around my bruise here. So personally speaking, again, back to real life self-defense. You never know what or who you're going to be up against. The person can be really tall, the person can be really big, the person can be really fast. You don't know until you engage, especially if you're blind, like Johnny Tiger, right? When I get assaulted by somebody, when I have no idea that person might be 7 feet tall, I wouldn't know until we engage. So I'm not going to risk failing something like this and I'm all off balance. Rather than doing that, I would go for the tried and true. If the person overextend like that, I go in and with my inside hand into the throat, into the groin, outside hand to the back of the head. I would go in, strike a few times, come back out, assess my situation, and go back in. Either do a takedown or uh, some other move or extract my self-defense weapon or tool or whatever. Right? I'm not going to risk staying bind up like this and turn this into a wrestling match and then we're stumbling back and forth and one of us is going to trip over and maybe this big guy is going to end up on top of me. No. With that said, again, like I said, in a peaceful scenario where it's just your rowdy cousin, then this is a great move, right? Don't do it Johnny Tiger way. Don't smash their throat in or face in. If it's a non-threatening, non-escalating situation. If it's just some big, burly, drunk cousin, drunk Uncle Joe or whatever, just getting pushy with you, then uh, yeah, you can just hold them there until they tap or they spit you out. Basically, that's what's going to happen. They're going to say a lot of swear words and then they'll probably go away. Um, but in a real situation, like a real serious confrontation, it's too risky. It's a very risky move. That's just my opinion. If some of you might be really good at this move. If so, good on you and all the respect. Thank you for spending time with me tonight. I'll be back again tomorrow for some Wisdom Wednesday. Stay safe out there.